Saturday, the 5th day of April 2025. You're welcome back. Great day, windy, not that warm like really for standing around, but for working it's absolutely great. We all work too hard. We get the weather good, getting jobs done. Solar part 35. Now, really it should be part 3. But I mean, there's so much talk about this solar that you could do 17,732 videos and there'll be still some lad telling you, oh, you're wrong, we had them now, and my Uncle Jimmy had them, and he was getting a million, he made €1,000,000, and then you come along and you say you're a fifth cousin of Neil Armstrong that went to the moon. Oh, my auntie was a second cousin. Oh, she went to America. She was a second cousin. You say I grew potatoes and I got 20 ton to the acre. Oh, my Uncle Paddy, he got 46 ton. Oh, he got a lot of you. This is all the happy talk we have to put up with. Anyway, my job here is to put you right up with solar panels in response to a letter I got from a subscriber, and it's very important because energy is my big thing, and mostly I've spent the last 20 years of my spare time debunking every lie that was told about renewable energy and green energy and the whole lot, all a scam, more or less, except for some small things. There was solar electricity and energy 50 and 60 years ago. So and a lot of the digitals on fuel pumps are solar in reverse. It works in reverse. So anyway, solar part 3, we'll say. Now, the thing about it is this. First of all, what I've helped to do for the ordinary lay person, clarify a few things. All the experts, all the electrical engineers, they never made any realistic, believable booklet or anything that anyone could believe, only happy talk. That's all that ever came out of them because they're paid to do it. And they're trying to get people in to build up their companies, and a lot of it unethical. So you can't. Those who criticise my efforts should go and do their own, and we'll soon see. And they can't do it without telling lies. So the point about it is there is thermal power. The thermal power has a tubes like this, which is filled with a special liquid that absorbs and takes in the heat, and through it runs a copper pipe. And the copper pipe is filled with water and goes round to your pump, a special tank that holds the warm water, and you can shave with it, you can wash yourself, you can have showers with it, and you can do other stuff. Essentially, it sort of replaces, in best conditions, the immersion heater. It saves you not having to put the water in with an immersion heater. The man that wrote to me here, I'd say he probably on his own, he has an unbelievable bill, he's on his own, and as he says, it's getting to the point of being unmanageable. Now, I gave him advice about checking for leakages, and I hope he's done that, and how to do that. And it's not necessary to call in a qualified electrician. Turn off everything and look at your meter going round and see if it's still. It should be perfectly still when you're not drawing any power. Now, the thing about it is then, that's thermal. What would it save you? The wee bit you're doing in the immersion heater. If you have a cooker with solid fuel and it has a back boiler, it's doing it anyway. Yeah, the immersion heater does a bit. If you have oil-fired central heating, you can turn it just for household heating only. That's the water heating, without heating the radiators. My system, you can have it either the radiators and the hot water, or you can have just the hot water, and the hot water heats up through a heat exchanger, a big worm coil that I have one of them actually here, an old one, and it does that. It'll heat the water for you, right? If you're that what to save and you're really an eco warrior, off you go, get involved in that. I'm not saying they're a bad diet, they're all right. A lot of people have them and brag them, but the big problem is the ordinary person hears this. Oh, they're great. And you go and get PV panels, which is the same as someone telling you that a horse is great for ploughing, and you go off and you buy a camel. They're not the same thing. But this is the lies that our government and our green ministers and our left-wing loonies and our cultural Marxists try to tell us. Oh, it's great. And everything's great. It's fantastic. You know. This is what you hear. To see a cow dung in the field. Oh, that could be made into, if I got going at that. Oh, if I had that farm, they should put that farmer out and let me run it. I'd run the whole grid without any oil or coal at all. And government listens to these idiots. Idiots. 3% of my subscribers are idiots. 3%. There's 9,000 of them. Thank God most are not. Now, the point about it is that the next type then are the photo cells. They take the photons from the sun, and they, by the way, the thermal ones, the heat ones for the water, depend a lot on the conditions outside. Go out and feel a black car and feel the way it changes as the sun goes down. That's all you need. Right, that's enough. Go on back to your photocells. They make a voltage. They make a current, a direct current. They used to be 250 watts a watt. Now they're getting up to 400. We'll say in an ideal world you might get 380 watts in optimum sun. I think it's 720 watts makes a horsepower. 720 watts makes 1 horsepower. Okay? A kilowatt will boil a kettle in about 5 minutes. Maybe 6 minutes, you know yourself. So you'd need 2.5 solar panels, 400 watt solar panels to boil the kettle. Would it boil the kettle? Anyway, the direct current is taken and is put into an inverter up in the attic. Thing like a big loaf. And it has to be connected to the grid, because it gets its frequency from the grid. Otherwise, you couldn't feed the current into the grid. Be like cogwheels, so it wasn't matching. Has to be like this. So that works all right, provided it's connected to the grid. So that means if it's not connected to the grid, it won't work. You can get them that they will work on their own, but I don't believe you can connect those to the grid. I'm a wee bit out of my depth there because you can't get doing tests. Anyway, you invert it and you feed it into the grid, and you feed it through a what do you call it? A meter, and the meter can run in 2 directions. It can run in the normal direction if you're using more power than your solar panels are making. If you're making more power than, and you're away on holidays, for example, and you're using nothing, it can feed it back into the grid. Cork man there, who he done everything. There's nothing that man didn't do. Corkian. There's a Joe Hayes. They have done it all. If you talk about piloting a ship, oh, I piloted a ship. Oh yeah, my Uncle Paddy piloted a ship. My mother was a pilot. Or if you say there was an aircraft accident and somebody got the wrong code, oh, if I was there, that wouldn't happen. Oh, I was an aircraft controller. I wouldn't happen if it was me. They were everything. Doctors, eye surgeons. Is Tommy Clerkin, an old man now, God be good to him, used to say about lads welding and doing engineering, they'd take on to weld an eye in a dog's arse. Now, so, it's a bit windy. Anyway, so that's the story. Now, how much do you get? They're shouting about 20 cent. My information is it's about 6 cent in a good day, and it varies depending on how they're doing. And I also make the point there's a limit to what can be fed in on each phase. Your grid, your power supply has 3 phases. If you're an ordinary rural customer. And we're on phase 1 here, there's somebody else on phase 2 and phase 3 in this area. So if everybody on this phase got the solar, that caused problems, that imbalanced the 3-phase current. So it'd be important that all three phases have some of it. What good it does on the grid, I don't know. You must remember Eamon Ryan was Minister for Justice, for Energy, and his aim was to promote this at all costs, irrespective of what it does. Okay? And they have it rigged that some people I am helping can't get barristers to fight cases on the SCA. Whatever kind of a secret deal is between most barristers and government, they won't take on SCA cases. They won't challenge the government. One barrister, a famous barrister, said to a person I was advising, oh, you're taking on the state here, as if there was something wrong with that. Anyway, now you know the basics. Now you can also get the photo for yourself. I would suggest have a separate system. Get your photo in, and get your inverter, and run your fridge or something on it. You see, the problem with the first one, the one that's connected to the grid, you never know how you're doing. So because you'll always use more electricity than you generate on your solar, you'll always have a bill to pay. This idea that you'll make money can only happen if you're not using the house. So if you had a rented house and somebody left it and the house is idle, and you have the bill in your name and you had it this weather, or you had a holiday home, you could technically feed a bit back into the grid. You're using your roof as a generator. And if you're away long enough, you could get more power generated than you consume. If you consume a little more, you're paying the full whack, 39 cents I think minus. And you're only getting 3 or 4 cents back. Oh no, my Auntie Biddy, she got 106 cents a unit. Oh, that's no joke. She told me that now one day. And this is the crack you have. Now, I think I've explained it up to now. You could get them on your own. You can get one to charge a battery, but the problem with my tractors is the batteries are charged anyway. I don't need it. Now, there's another important feature. People who have these in tend to use more electricity. This is a paradox that's been identified. There's a name on it. Where the more electricity sources you have, the more you use. And this is shown big time. We used to have 5,000 megawatts of ordinary generation of coal, oil and gas. And then they started all this wind. Now we have nearly 10,000 because they have data centres and they go flahulach, use it without any caution. So people who think they have this cheap energy will use it like billion. So it's not saving a whole lot in the long run. We're now emitting a lot more fossil fuel than we were, but because the demand has gone up, we can't judge it properly. There's no scientific judgment. Have you that? So you want to know where you're going. Now, I know people who've been installing these things for years and wouldn't do them anymore, the photoelectric, because their conscience wouldn't allow them. They're very honest people. They know they're a rip-off. And you get a lad going round, a young lad or an old lad or an old one or a young one, and she's selling these things. And she gets €1,000 if she makes a signature. She calls to you, she talks to you, she gives you a whole lot of happy talk and figures and facts, and there you are. And God, maybe you go for it. Now, I'm told that the cost getting them done by a professional crowd is €17,000 plus the VAT for an average house. And you get a grant. Now, I'm after saying plus the VAT. I'm not entirely sure of that. The man that told me, and some noise occurred or somebody interrupted. But 17,000. You can buy the same panels for 7,000 in China. You can get them delivered. You can get someone to put them up. You have to, when they install them, they get their 17,000, then there has to come an electrician to actually activate them. So that's 1,000 your woman gets off somebody. You pay 17 and another 1,000, that's 18. So somebody's got 19,000 and there's nothing generated yet at all. 19,000 or even 17 would buy an awful lot of diesel oil to warm you up. And you have it round the clock. Now, I may give the example there of what's happening in Malta. Some people don't want to know. And those who don't want to know, off you go and spend your money. The poorer you are, the better. You're almost certainly voting for some of the lefties like Sinn Féin or Fine Gael, and you deserve to be skint, and that's it. Slowly but surely, they're beginning to realise the electric cars is not what they're said to be at all. That's coming home the hard way. They're learning the hard way. In Cyprus, a lot of people went for these, but they couldn't use the power. Proving my theory, the only person in all of the globe with 8 million people to make the point that you have to have at least 37% of the grid from fossil fuel before you can let any renewables in. And they had them all lined up in Greece, and they then had a smart meter, and when the sun was going too high and they couldn't accommodate the power, they switched them off by means of the smart meter. So the income dropped, or any saving or whatever they were getting decreased. The power company wasn't prepared to pay them for useless energy. It hadn't any use for it anyway. What happened next? The people connected them back. They bypassed the meter. Now remember, people who steal electricity usually bypass the meter and then draw the power out. In other words, they try to get it without it registering on the meter, and so they don't pay for it. That's larceny of electricity. But this is a offence for giving it away for giving it away. Essentially, if I go into town and I meet a young lad and they have here, there's €20, and they get it and go off and buy a few ice creams. Thank you, sir, that's great. And buy a ball there for yourself, have a bit of fun. They're 20. Why are you giving us this? I go on, I was young myself. That's a criminal offence under electricity in Greece because you're giving us something away. So you can be fined if you take it wrong, and you can be fined if you give it wrong. Anyway, they have the police on their houses for trying to bypass the meter to put it back into the grid and get the money for it. Isn't that something else? To use it up. Now, I wonder what happens if it's been generated and it's not being used. Did that damage them? I don't know. We can't know it all. Only Corkonian and Joe Hayes and these, they know everything. They know everything. They knew, they could tell you, oh, they're wonderful men altogether. Now, anyway, the thing about that's one case. In Holland, the farmers were given a big solar business, and they had sheds all over the place, and they plastered the place with solar. Millions and millions of euros in Holland, in the Netherlands. Wired them up to the grid, let them in, they went to generate, happy days. They got the check the first month, the following month they got nothing. They got letters to say we're not buying it anymore. After them spending millions, they were getting nothing, and they couldn't pay the bills. And that's how the Farmers' Party was started. That was a Fitzpatrick woman. It must be Irish connection. It was in charge of that party. Wouldn't pay them. So here you have Cyprus won't pay them, and here you have Holland won't pay them. So why won't they pay them? One, I say, the power can't be used anyway, can't be taken in. Two, it's no use. Three, it doesn't save any fuel. And four, it costs the companies whatever they're paying. I believe in Ireland it's not that much, but it varies. Someone says their engine energy is something like 15. I don't know. We'll not go there. I haven't time to do that. But they won't pay them in Holland. They won't pay them in Cyprus. And then there's some other man there on from South Australia, and they're going to be 100% solar. Well, the windmills did not work there. They failed there. And now it's solar. But remark what he says, will be. I don't want to hear about what it will be. I want to hear what it did. We have spent enough already to be able to see some benefit in terms of fossil fuel saving. Off you go, folks. I've warned you. I'd have nothing to do with the months into the grid. But it might be put up a small one and have a wee bit of your own power, a little bit of hot water if you want to go that way. I wouldn't spend the money. You'll never see it back if you're over 60. And if you're putting up the photoelectric, a big one, cover the whole roof, it'll only be a trickle off your bill. And you'll never know it because it's all mixed up in the ordinary power. And you'll find your household will use more of it. Or sure, we have solar, we can burn away at it. And there'll be no economics or no little bit of prudence used. That's the paradox. The more of it you have, the more of it you use. All right. Now, I made the point about the heat pumps. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, don't try that. Fierce money spent. I claim that just electric central heating. The big selling point was you have to have an insulated house. But what people doesn't realise about a very insulated house is an insulated house keeps the heat in from escaping out to the colder outside. But it also keeps the heat from outside creeping into the house. And during the failure of the electricity there a while back, in January, there was areas out for 3 weeks. You had no heat pumps because you had no electricity. You couldn't use your wood burner stoves because you had no electricity. You couldn't use your home heating oil system because you had no electricity. You could use nearly nothing without electricity. The only thing you could use was a stove, a cooker, a Rayburn or a Stanley. And even with them, if you had a heavy fire with no electricity, you'd have boiling water behind the what do you call it, the back boiler. You need electricity for that. So people found that they had nothing. And they also found when they tried to stay in their homes, their new homes, some of them have dummy chimneys, when they tried to stay in their new homes, They couldn't stick the coal because the heat from outside, when the weather got a bit warmer, couldn't get in. So it retains the hot conditions inside, but it also contains the cold conditions. You don't benefit from the bit of heat outside. It's out there now today. It's nice and warm. Well, it's windy. So when you're in a house, you don't get the cooling effect of the wind. And here I am. It's not too bad here at all. I think it's about 14 degrees out today in Ireland, but it feels colder with the wind. There's a good lot of wind, but it's actually nice here. You could just do it without heat. Have you that now? You have that so far. They all left. I saw several, I know several of them. They abandoned the whole house. What if you had no one to go to? What would you do if you had no one to go to? And you couldn't use a space heater, which are a great job, because you have no electricity. The only thing worked in that conditions was the solid fuel stove. Throw the turf in, throw the coal in, throw the sticks in, and light her up, and you had heat. And the the insulation would keep it in. Have I said enough? I think I've dealt with this fairly well. I wouldn't bother me, Barney, and I make the point. Why are we all getting mad to generate electricity? What is it about electricity? I think it's a novelty. When I was 14, I put my father's wind charger on the tree. Here's the blade. See it there? Oh, it's gone up to the roof now. Up to the ceiling. Now we'll see it here. It's about 7.5 feet. It's about 7.5 feet, and it has. Oh! It's after knocking something down off the shelf. It has this shape. See the way it's angled like that? It's like an aircraft propeller. Okay? I don't know what it's made out of. I think it's like piranha pine. So, folks, that's all I can tell you. I had them. We had a tree house. We had great fun. The best of fun. But we soon left it behind us and got out of there. It worked without a battery, but it blew the bulb, and it worked with a tractor battery. It was all right too. So it was better, but that still wasn't good enough. So I've made it clear. Off you all go now. Do whatever you want. The only reason there's any benefit in these is that electricity is so cruelly expensive. The government is giving everything off the grid. No matter what you're doing, you get money off your bill. You can feed it back in. Oh, this thing, you can feed it back in. It's absolutely no use to anyone feeding it back in. It's just a bit of a nuisance, really. And you can feed it back in. There's nothing stopping the state using solar power, but they know they can't use it. The windmills can't be used half the time. There is no island in the world running on your renewable power. It's all happy talk from people who have more money than sense. I would check to see there's no leaks in your system. See, can you do anything to insulate a little bit in the summertime to have a wee bit better insulation? A window open cancels all your insulation. One window open. And Sean Quinn, the entrepreneur, the cement man, had a conference in Ballyconnell before he collapsed, and he made the point he wanted to hear another view. And they brought some fellas from somewhere, I don't know, and he says, I'm going to give you a different view. If you leave a window open, the whole insulation is useless. Useless. With this insulated new homes, a window open might help to warm it a bit, not cool it. I saw people in new houses and they're looking at the telly and they're wrapped up in quilts on the sofa. Is life worth that? Oh, we have a big house. Oh, it's modelled on one in Florida. Oh, so what? Sure enough. Oh, look at what we have. Oh, look at. Nobody gave a tuppenny damn. There was lads going driving by an old Ford tractors, Ford Dexters and Massey Fergusons. They didn't give a damn what the house was like. A house is for living in, it's not for living for. And there's an awful lot of house-proud people around. I think I've covered everything there. Do whatever you want. Just wait till you see the bios here, the usual crowd here. I'll leave them on another while. Wait till you see, my uncle, he's a millionaire with solar panels. I'll tell you who is millionaires. These crowd that are installing them. And many decent people won't install them. An awful lot of the companies that's installing them would put them up on anyone. They get an old lady maybe with the last few shillings she had, the last bit of money, and they'll take it all off her, knowing full well they're leaving her in poverty. And they have no qualms about it. And they're doing it, and that's happening all over the place. And I know decent installers who are good at their hands and can make a living, and they wouldn't do it because they say I just couldn't rip off people the way they were ripping them off. I have one last sentence. All that glitters may not be gold. Comment underneath. Goodbye. The 5th of April 2025. Bye.